Hello walkers, and welcome back to City Walks. Today we are someplace pretty special. I think you're going to figure it out pretty quickly, probably from the title. We are in Pompeii, and we are going to do a little bit of an exploration. And I say a little bit because this is a massive complex, and it's absolutely amazing, as you will see, and as I'm sure you heard. It is 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius, 1:45 p.m. in the end of October. It's actually Halloween today. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide, although I'm not a guide, co-discoverer, co-explorer. So thank you for joining me today. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. So please, there's a lot of stuff that I will not get to today, information-wise. Please add to it in the comments if you know, if you have thoughts or memories or anything else in the comments that's kindly put. I would appreciate it. Love interacting with you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that if you'd like to see more of these videos. We are, of course, in Pompeii, and I want to give a shout out real quick to our, well, we'll get back to that. Pompeii was, or is as it was, not long after it was destroyed in 79 AD. Now, they used to think it was in August, but now they're thinking it's more in October that it happened. An error in translation, possibly, from Pliny the Younger. We actually paid for a tour this morning, and it was very well worth it. There's so much going on here. There's no way to really get the details or to the point very well without just an expert guide. It's something like 100 acres or something like that, 190 acres, 12 point something kilometers, I don't remember. Anyway, it's massive, and you cannot see it in detail all in one day. So I would suggest doing what we did. Come, get a tour guide, and then wander around. Our tour guide did say, so that was one of the forum areas, and this is another forum area or public area, and that I believe is the Temple of Jupiter. We're not far from the Sea Gate. It used to be right on the water, and it has been lifted up by geologic forces over time, is the way was what we were told. Again, correct me if you think that's any of this information is incorrect. What else? I just love this stuff. Most of it is as it was, right? So they found it again in the 1740s, I think, under the Bourbons, and it's sort of been slowly excavated ever since. It was actually bombed in the 40s, I think, and some of the really cool stuff that we're going to see here is some frescoes and some mosaics, which are super cool. Our guide said that in the afternoons, the crowds thin out. Not sure I'm buying that, but maybe they will in a little while. Excuse me. Here are one of the main roads. We're going to walk down towards the amphitheater. There are, as you can see, thousands and thousands of people here. I think there's 2 restrooms and 1 restaurant if you're interested. I think it's $15 for adults to get in, free for under 18. I think, check that. Our guide took care of the entrance fee as part of our package. It was nice. We had a group of 8 people, so it wasn't some massive tour where you're struggling to hear what's going on. Oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Some mosaics.
Les bassins sont très bien conservés, notamment. Les animaux sont.
if you look at, if you notice some of the stonework here, not just the bricks, but the stones, you will see, our guide pointed out to us, let me put it that way, that it's put together in some places like a net, and I'll try and find a better example, where it's squares, but they're on the diagonal. And she pointed out that this actually is a very stable way to build a wall in an earthquake zone, because it's for whatever reason, I don't know the engineering behind it, but it settles better than the flat laid brick you can see there. She pointed out that over the centuries, they built a lot of local buildings with brick and flat stones in what we would consider a more modern manner. And they had a big earthquake in the 1800s maybe. And most of those fell over and collapsed, while all of these stayed put. You can see they're kind of on the diagonal there. Big group coming. You can also see these signs. So these are in regios and insulars, and there are something like 8 regios, and each one has at least 6 insulars, and that's how they break these up. I want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about that program, please read below in the description. There's a link. I keep it at $4.95. There's not really special giveaways or anything, but it does help me make these videos, so I appreciate all of you who are supporting me. Each one of the domuses, the houses, has a little cistern water collection system in the atrium of the primary houses, the wealthy folks. And then I believe there's a cistern below that. There's a whole sewer system in the city, or was. They in fact pumped in fresh water to these type of fountains, public fountains, which had potable water for free. And they did it was like 30 or 40 kilometers away. Pretty crazy. Excuse me, I'm gonna go this way real quick. We're gonna go to the amphitheater. I think that's right. Anyway, there's an amphitheater and a coliseum type building. She also our guide pointed out that these little rocks here, the front, those indicate that it was a store of some sort. And they would have sliding doors to protect them. Sorry, this is Co-Discover, so we do a lot of backtracking, especially in a place where I don't really know my way around. But look, you find all these nooks and crannies. This used to be someone's home. And this isn't rebuilt, to the best of my knowledge. Our guide also said that they would, I'm going to spin you around here, don't get dizzy, said that these buildings would have a second story where the family would live on the ground floor, and then the slaves and servants would live on the top floor. You can see this road is, pretty good for several thousand years old, but also very rough. You just find these little nooks and crannies, and a lot of these have just little special bits in them. Okay, this is the theater, I think called the Triangle Theater. The Foro Triangolare.
L'orto dei fuggiaschi volevo vedere. Chiara, vieni amore.
Love these trees too, these little parks. We are like 10 or 12 miles from Vesuvius, and apparently it rained down 15 feet of pumice stone. It's really light, sharp rocks. Our guide was saying that it came down at 200 or 300 miles an hour. So think about a hailstorm made out of rocks, sharp rocks. They're doing some digging over here. Excavations. Slowly, slowly. Pretty crazy. I'm gonna spin you around. And then, after the 15 feet of pumice stones, they had a pyroclastic cloud come in or flood come in at several hundred miles an hour. And of hot ash and poisonous gases. So people who didn't get out didn't make it. Here is the amphitheater, but we're going to swing around and get a better view of it, I think. But we're also going to get a view off to the left here. I don't know what this is. Looks like some sort of temple. So the other thing that our guide, I want to give full credit, said was they didn't have easy access to marble here. So what they would do is they would make fake marble by grinding up travertine and putting it on the brick and rock as if it were a, and then sort of shape it into, look, here we go, into a marble facade kind of thing. It just goes on and on until the break of dawn. Excuse it. I believe a lot of this was rebuilt, but I think the marble stuff is, or whatever it is, travertine, is original. One thing they like to demonstrate is the acoustics. And they do musical performances here in the summer. That's why you have little place tags. Seats. And then they would have tent canvas canopies over the top or over the seats. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Dispatch. I meant to go down to the bottom and I forgot. it's kind of fun to think about how crowded this place would be. Probably not much less crowded than it is today, probably more so, but people of course would be dressed differently. It would smell much differently because of human activity and animal waste, etc. There's some more of that rocks building style. She described it as a net. So I said there's 2 toilets. There's actually more than that. There's one right here. We waited for about 35 minutes, 40 minutes at the restaurant to get some takeaway sandwiches, which were quite good, but then there was probably at least that long wait for the ladies' bathroom. Yes. Isn't this amazing? That's the exit to the park. And I don't want to exit the park. Sorry about that quick spin. I think I might have mentioned before how a lot of these major sites can and have a little bit turned into theme parks. You know, you go, you get your photo, you stand in line, you get another photo, you stand in line, etc. But in a large sense, they're also very much worth it in some cases. Oh, here's a smaller theater. So the last one, the big one, held up to 20,000, I think, and this one held up to 300. The other one would be for people speaking and performing in Latin. And I believe this one is for people acting and performing in Greek. So a higher, she described it as the, turn it around, as the more educated classes. Definitely a more intimate space. Ugh. I don't really know where we're going. I mean, I have an idea, but I know where I want to go. Here's a little snack bar. Lots of these around, little places for people to get food. Those would hold hot food in those, presumably. Ooh, this is pretty cool. Unfortunately, it is closed. This particular one. Yeah, that's too bad. Some of these houses that are more restored you can go into and see the frescoes, etc.
Però ho bevuto un caffè da una donna.
You can see some writing on the wall here. Casa dei Sei. You can see some amazing frescoes in the back, maybe. Scusa.
E noi andremo a visitare esattamente questa tipologia di casa. Dentro potete fare le foto senza toccare i pareti e senza
Scusa. Look at these frescoes. The colors are still intact. You can still make out the images. Sorry to be whirling you about like this. To a certain extent, I am skimming through this stuff. I don't have time to really get into too much detail. So, oh, I'm going to swing it around here. You can see kind of an overhanging balcony area there that a second story might have looked like, I think. More excavations.
Tu imate lijep mozaik baš na zidu za pokrivati. Znači čestice, imate mali
La parallela di questa è la parallela di questa qua, è via dell'abbondanza. Eruption vulcano, it's not
Sorry for all the swinging about. A lot of these say they're going to be open, but they're not. Not sure why that is. There's absolutely so much to see. I mean, we've already been walking for over half an hour and we've barely seen any. I mean, we've seen a lot, but as a percentage, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Czytałem wam, to wam powiedzieć.
I love these big trees. Sorry. Little nook here. Lovely garden. It's pretty warm here, but it's easy. So it's easy for to get how far north we are. So the photo period here as we approach winter solstice is getting shorter and shorter. This is the, it's not really a coliseum, but it's kind of a coliseum. Apparently they did not have gladiatory fights to the death or fights against wild animals, but they did have fights here, gladiator games. Probably, I have to think, not that different than UFC stuff in the States. Oops. So here's another exit. right, and here we are in the amphitheater, the Coliseum, the sporting arena. Okay guys, I want to thank you for joining me in this walk here at Pompeii. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. It's really an amazing place, just a fantastic experience. Definitely gets warm here, so bring your water if you can, bring a snack lunch, plan your bathroom breaks, and get a guide if you can. There are a lot of audio guides and online things you can do through your phone. So that's also an option, but definitely do some planning and give yourself plenty of time because it is pretty amazing and pretty massive. Thanks you guys, we'll see you again soon. Until then, keep on stepping.